Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. And I've been waiting on the whole day for it to stop storming. And it's now 7 p.m. and I don't want to go anywhere right now. But it stopped snowing. And so I really wanted to get back down to that store and pick up some of those tiles so I could try to see what they look like on my kitchen wall and my bathroom shower. But it's just as well because I don't want to rush into anything. It will require some time because if they don't have enough to cover, I will have to go all around the city and look in every store. This is ridiculous because I don't want to put my credit card online right now. I don't want to do that. I really have to be careful with this project because I can't, there's not much room for errors here. I also want to cover the countertop in the kitchen and the countertop in the small bathroom. I'm fed up looking at those. You know what I mean, don't you? And so I'd be looking at two different coverings for each. And in just a bit, I'll show you how the swatches that I chose for the paint match up with the floor tiles. But I am thinking of covering the floor as well. I still like the floor, but it needs a pick-me-up. So I'm going to have to do something about all of this soon because everything seems to be just caving in on me. As every day goes by, I don't feel like facing the fact that it's going to take some work to fix up how it looks and how it feels. That's more important than how it looks. Anyway, I hope you're all doing wonderfully today. I have a bit of a cut in my ear, and at first I thought it might be an infection. My ear is plugged slightly, but it also feels very swollen, and I know that I did something I shouldn't have done the other day. I put my fingernail in there and I scratched it because when I took my hand away, there was a little tiny drop of blood. And so I know I scratched it. I don't file my nails very regularly. And so I know that I cut the inside of my ear with my nail. And so last night I spoke a little bit about the Smith man sighting. And I just wanted to say, before I go on with the agenda for today, which is practically non-existent, I wanted to say, and I don't know if I've been getting this message across as clearly enough as I should be. I'm not saying that Smith man, this is not an apology. I'm not saying that Martin Smith, it was, I believe, is the abductor or a human trafficker. No. Very certainly he likes children, maybe a little too much. And I was just trying to prove a point in showing you what human traffickers and those sorts of criminals do for each other. And most likely he was caught up in this story and he wanted to make it worse for the McCanns. In a way, I guess I believe that these sorts of criminals have it in for people like teachers and parents and social workers who deal with children. It's almost like a jealousy. And so, come on, guys. I am absolutely, in my mind, certain that that sighting was completely false. And so, guys, what I want to do is I want to give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing today or tonight. First of all, I didn't get the other ingredients for the pizza yesterday, so now I'm stuck. But I do have ingredients for a white pizza, and I have made this one with you before. I'm thinking of putting 3 toppings on this, plus a little tofu and Parmesan cheese. So I am going to be starting that soon. I'm going to let the dough rise. And then what I'm going to be doing after that, I guess while it cooks, I don't know, is I'm going to go ahead with the aftermath of the disappearance of Maddie McCann and what transpired from all of it. And so it probably will be pretty brief. And so I'm not sure if this is going to end up being a very brief vlog. It probably will be. So bear with me. But one more thing. I just want to say to my subscribers and everybody else out there who is probably disapproving and leery of this content, and with good reason. I did so want to keep my channel very clean and very uplifting, but I can't, because this is becoming I guess I got sidetracked also by the headlines of Julia Wendell and Maddie McCann. And so what I'm trying to say is that, like I was explaining yesterday in the car, I have no clue why people would want to do this to anybody, let alone me. This constant harassment, it's very bad near my area. Let's put it that way. And the government won't get involved in this criminal activity. I don't understand what it is. Perhaps they think that they have a right to protect the identity of criminals. Well, no, not when the criminals are perpetually committing crimes against other innocent people. And, so I know where you're coming from. You're saying, well, I think it's all in your head. It's your imagination. Why would anybody want to do this? Well, okay, I understand that logic completely, and I do empathize with it. But let's put Maddie in that situation. Maddie, what did you do to deserve to go missing? What did you do to deserve to be human trafficked? You see my point. I know you're going to see logic. I know you're going to see reason. And I'm not basing my experiences and my perspective on BS. I don't care what anybody may have in their minds. I want to educate people about what to look for, what to do if you do see something out of the ordinary, or if you continuously experience something when you're in your own building or condo, or it's not likely going to happen in a home, but when you're out, when you're away from your natural and safe surroundings. So you need to be on the lookout for things. If you live in a countryside or an urban area, equally dangerous. You need to be made aware of the things that can go on. And so what I'm saying is there's no reason, there's no typical victim. The criminals do not target somebody specifically for anything much else other than their vulnerability and their apparent helplessness in any given situation. So there's no reason or logic to what I'm saying, because that's the way these rings operate. And I'm not saying it's always that case. What I'm saying is, when you've been targeted for fraud and identity theft and other sorts of crimes like kidnapping over and over and over again, the patterns become very clear and unmistakable. So I wanted to get that out of the way. There's no real reason for my being ever targeted. I haven't committed crimes. This has been going on for decades, guys, even before I met my ex-husband. I am of the mind that it began with my father's business partner. I'm of the mind that that is where it all began. And had he still been the executor of my dad's estate, I would be out on the streets by now, and he would have all my dad's money. So that's where it all began, approximately 30 years ago. But at that point, it was happening maybe once a year, twice a year. Now it's happening once a day, twice a day, maybe 10 times a day. And always in areas that are completely littered by police cars and construction sites. The worst possible case scenarios for a crime to be committed, in other words. So it gets progressively worse. And I'm waiting for something in the laws to change, but I think the government likes it like this, and they would rather stay out of the problems of criminals and protect them other than protecting the real, true, and loyal citizens, and not somebody who would be perpetually out to defraud everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why all these government officials or politicians are so anxious to tippy-toe around these human traffickers. Why? Do they make money off it too? I want to know. Why aren't the laws stricter and tougher? Because they're pretty freaking stupid right now. We need more barriers. We need more. We need more. We need. I don't know how to say. We need more. I wouldn't say security, because security is corrupt. We need more laws. We need more lucid laws, laws that make sense, and laws that protect victims and other innocent citizens and not the criminal. It got to the point, guys, where if somebody in Canada has to get arrested, it needs to be waited until they travel out of this country. That's how stupid these laws are. They can get arrested out of the country, but they can't get arrested here. That's one thing that I didn't ever understand. However, I'm going to stop babbling now, and I'm going to get on with my pizza. But first, I'll show you the swatches. So hold on. Hi, guys. So if you can see that, the swatch on the far right is a pretty good match. It's slightly darker than the ceramic tile, but I want to keep that shade uniform in this bathroom. And as you can see by that wallpaper, it's not. And so that's why I have been looking for a mat that actually went with the floor, but they decided to stop selling those colors. So I'm still, debating on whether or not to buy the tiles for the floor or not. But I did see some that were coordinated with this tone. But I think what I'll do, guys, is just concentrate on the walls for that swatch. And I don't know how I'm going to do the walls, but I'm actually going to cover the wallpaper, because I'm not going to peel all that off. No, it's going to make a mess, and then I'm going to be forced to... What I'll do is I'll leave the borders. Hold on. If you can see up there, there's a bordered trim along with all my dirt and dust. I'll leave the border there and I'll concentrate on the wall from, the border down to that border right there, if you can see. And so I'll concentrate on covering that part. So I'm just going to make a smaller 2 cup of flour pizza, and I'm going to make sure that I buy some more ingredients when I can because I'm running low on staple items like garlic and onions and potatoes. And so let me show you what I'm going to put on this pizza tonight. And then I'll make the dough, and then I will let it rise, and then I will finish making the pizza. So let you have a look. So I'm just going to make a smaller 2 cup of flour pizza, and I'm going to make sure that I buy some more ingredients when I can because I'm running low on staple items like garlic and onions and potatoes. And so let me show you what I'm going to put on this pizza tonight. And then I'll make the dough, and then I will let it rise, and then I will finish making the pizza. So let you have a look. Hi everybody. Well, the pizza's done, and I let you have a look at it. I don't like making pizza when I don't have all my favorite ingredients around, but um, after the day that I've been having, I didn't have much of a choice, so hopefully I'll be able to step out tomorrow and get the rest of the ingredients for a red pizza. And so, in the meantime, I thought that we would get back to wrapping up the case of Maddie, the disappearance of Maddie McCann in 2007. Now, I know it's a very old case, and but I think it's important to keep the details of it alive, if not the memory of Madeline McCann herself, because her body has never been found. No links as to her whereabouts had ever been managed to be put together. Nobody knows what happened exactly. We just know that she very likely was passed through a door or a window from one or more, probably more than one or two persons, on the evening of May the 3rd, 2007, in Praia da Luz, Portugal, where she was vacationing with the rest of her family. And so where we left off last night was that I was, talking about the sightings, and basically the only sighting which ever checked out many, many years and probably an arrest later was that of Tanner Man. And that was actually um, a real man, a real British tourist carrying his daughter away from the nursery, the Ocean Club nursery, back to his hotel room. And the direction in which he had been walking was at the time confusing, but it checked out. I don't know the precise details of what that person had claimed when he came forward. He came forward when his daughter was probably more than 10 years old. And I guess, he was probably reluctant, but I'm glad that he came forward because it just so happens that that sighting created such a confusion. Nobody knew exactly who it was. It wasn't a local person. It was a British tourist. And so let's start by summarizing the facts that occurred after the disappearance of Maddie McCann. And I'm going to lead away from the sightings because nothing ever came of any of them. And I will go into the other direction and deal with the people who were actually suspected of being involved in the abduction of Maddie McCann. And so, although the McCanns were never formally charged by any police jurisdiction for the neglect of their 3 children on May the 3rd, 2007, Madeline was still made a ward of the state in the UK, and that that in itself spoke volumes because many people will draw their own conclusions from that. I'm still of the mind that the McCanns had nothing to do with it. Yes, they left the children there. It's unfortunate that that choice of action was taken, but that is basically why it happened, the whole disappearance. You know what I'm saying? I believe that neglect, that act of neglect, was used against the McCanns as the entire kidnapping rationale. Wow, that's so punishing. And so you can almost sense a jealousy and a hate for the McCanns for that slip up. A slip up that other parents, I might add, at that destination were doing as well. But it didn't make it right. It didn't make it, it didn't justify it. So you don't take too many chances when you're, dealing with your children, especially when you're in a foreign country. You don't want to leave them alone. And so in the initial investigation, moving forward before the McCanns were suspected, Robert Murat, a British expat, became a formal suspect due to that Tanner Man sighting. And so it eventually did check out as the British tourist that I just told you about. But however, it was years before Murat's Robert, I'm going to call him Robert, before Robert's, because Tanner Man wasn't checked out until 2013, Robert suffered. He endured a lot of false and negative stereotyping and false accusations merely because of the direction in which Tanner Man had been walking. And that was extremely circumstantial. I mean, the direction in which one walks doesn't automatically predict guilt. You know what I'm saying? That was a weird conclusion for the police department to jump to, if you ask me, but nobody asked me, so I'm telling you now. Um, so Robert was not in Portugal at the precise time that Madeline was abducted on May the 3rd, 2007. However, he was presently arriving because he had a holiday home there, and I believe that he actually lived there with his mother. And the villa that they owned was just beyond the Ocean Club complex. And so now it was quite close also to apartment 5A. To poor Robert, of all, things, he and his mom were so bold as to buy a villa very close to apartment 5A. How dare they? And so, unfortunately, the sighting didn't check out until many, many years later. I found that also very suspicious. I also found that suspicious. Not in that I disbelieved the witness or the man, that the way that it had built up, the way that it had, the man had been prevented from coming forward. I don't understand that part very well. And I can't find very much information on it. So the problem, guys, with this entire scenario, if you can imagine, the evening was cool, it was dark, it was 10 p.m., and all the local parents and the tourists as well were busy picking up their sleeping children from the nursery, from the hotel nursery. From what I gather, the hotel nursery was also used as a local nursery. And so native people and tourists alike used that nursery for their own children. And so the scenario and the timing itself is quite... I really do think that whoever took Maddie was counting on that. Was really counting on that. Because it would throw confusion in every direction. All these parents, I don't know how many it would have been. But I would say 10 p.m. is quite late to be picking up a child from a babysitting service. But maybe it was there because these situations could not be helped. But, all these parents coming and going with their children in their arms, it's very, very complicated. It made sightings very, well, think about it. Everybody was a suspect. Everybody carrying a child. That's pretty sad. That it had to be at that time that Maddie went missing. And so eventually Robert's yard was dug up because the police had become convinced that Maddie had been murdered and dug into the garden. And at that time, guys, there was a case here in my city where bodies indeed were being dug up from gardens. Oh my God, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. That was horrific. And so it was around that time that they decided to dig up this yard. And so I might add here that Robert's father, this is weird. And I find it so suspicious, but it's just weird in the way that it played out. Robert's father owned the pub from which the Smiths had been exiting when they came upon that innocent man and his little girl sleeping in his arms. And so that is quite suspicious and weird, if you ask me. And so for that, the owner's son of that pub to be eventually charged after Jerry was accused and the Smiths were there, that's a little too much for me to swallow. And so Robert, an innocent man, was dragged through pretty much all the same mud that the McCanns and even Amanda Knox were dragged through. Except for the fact that Knox did end up spending 4 years in a prison for something that she never did. And, or at least as for something that was never proven, not by a long shot. And so ultimately, Robert sued all the papers for publishing, even British papers, for publishing his name in them and saying that he did this and that and this and that. And I don't know if he sued the police department, but he should have. After the dog sniffing incident in July, and then between that incident and from September 27 to July 2008, the McCanns became suspects, official suspects in Maddie's disappearance. And so Kate and Gerry McCann have since lost a legal battle against the detective, Amaral, who claimed that they were involved in the child's disappearance. So the McCanns took action against the retired detective, and in a book, documentary, and newspaper interview, Amaral implicated the McCanns in their daughter's disappearance. And so it was documented. And they didn't do it, guys. And so he actually accuses them of hiding her body. And guys, this is very heartbreaking because the McCanns haven't seen their child in over 17 years. And Sean asked, Kate's son, Sean, asked her if he hid Madeline's body. I would cite that question as a severe damage to the entire family, but not according to Portuguese law. And so, although the McCanns initially did win a libel case against the detective in 2015, in a secondary part of their lawsuit, Portugal's High Court later reversed that decision. Isn't that sneaky? And so the McCanns appealed to the European Court with their lawyers, arguing that the Portuguese authorities had breached their right, the McCanns' right, to a private and family life due to how libel claims were dealt with. I guess it was too widely publicized. And but the court did not sympathize. I can't believe it. Their reputation was damaged by their temporary status as suspects rather than Amaral's allegations. Oh, really? I don't follow that logic. I don't think I understand that ruling because it was Amaral who led that investigation and wrote that book. Just because parents are involved publicly in the active search for their missing child, that doesn't mean that they don't have a right to privacy laws. I don't get it. Do you? So, in May 2011, Operation Grange of Scotland Yard was led by 29 detectives and 8 other civilians as a response to 20,000 petitions signed to reopen the old investigation. So not only was it old, but it was closed. That's senseless. And so they investigated over 8,000 sightings again. By 2015, took almost 1,500 written statements, and they investigated over 700 suspects, including the German man who attacked other British girls at that same resort between 24 and 2010, and so that would have been just before and after the McCanns were there and Maddie went missing. And so in 2020, a new investigation linked this 45-year-old German man who Julia Wendell recognizes as one of her abusers to the crime after their discovery of this German man's phone records that placed him right there, guys. Okay, that doesn't mean too much. It's circumstantial. I understand that. And I understand that he is doing time for other crimes. All right, we have that clear. I'm not saying anything. It's just that it's too close. Not only with the cola bomba from Julia and where Maddie went missing, he was right there. It's a little close for comfort, guys. It's a heck of a lot of coincidences. It may be that he was part of a ring, or he may have information on a ring. There's something here that needs to be investigated. And so these phone calls from his cellular phone placed him right there in Praia da Luz, in the very area where Maddie McCann went missing in 27 at the same time, guys. Not only in the same area, but at the same time. So it needs to be followed up on. It may not lead to anything. But, I really question all those coincidences. It must be either coincidence or a real paradise for pedophiles. I don't think I would ever feel comfortable going there. Not that I'm a child, but it's icky. So this German man is still under investigation, but it's a slow process, and it may take up to another year or more to complete this investigation. Now, he is due to get out of prison, and rightfully should be, if he's done his time, in 2025. And so, although the suspect denies any involvement and did actually live right near the resort where Maddie vanished in 27, at that time he was living there, I am sure that Julia Wendell will be a prime witness for this and or other missing child cases. So, guys, we're wrapping up Maddie McCann. I'm going to be very sad to let it go, because I always figure that in going over the case one more time, I will find something that I missed or that someone else missed. And so it's unfortunate that she's still missing, and we're no closer to finding her now than we were in 27. And so on this note, I'm going to let you go, and I hope everybody is having a wonderful evening. And please don't forget to tune in tomorrow for probably another pizza episode. And if I do talk on anything, I'll try to keep it very lighthearted, because this is this is very intense for me, and I don't like dealing with all this, but I think it's essential for everybody to become acquainted with this case because it's basically what Julia is talking about. And so Julia is now in the United States, and she is assisting in an investigation on the Maddie case and probably her own case. They're probably trying to figure out if she's one of their missing children. They have a lot of investigating to do, and I'm glad that Julia is there. I hope she's safe. I don't know who it could be that would be threatening her life, but I think she's in better hands now. And so, Julia, take care of yourself and make what you can out of, your life there, whether you stay or whether you just visit. Keep on trucking. Stay strong, and same to everybody else. Stay strong and stay healthy, and thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye for now.